Okay, greetings. This is a short video on the question that I get asked by numerous people. Is it safe visiting and or living in Africa? And now I can only talk about what I know and my experiences. I've lived in Ghana, West Africa, several years off and on, and I visited Ethiopia and East Africa. I spent a little over a month in Ethiopia, maybe 6 weeks in total. So let me start with Ethiopia. In my opinion, Ethiopia is very safe. One of the interesting things about Ethiopia, the guest house I stayed in, owned by a gentleman who had worked for the government for 36 years, and his family, it was at their property, and he told me along with his son that there are police undercover everywhere in Ethiopia. They said the man you see sleeping on the street looks like he's homeless. He could be FBI, CIA type or connected with the government police agencies of some kind. And so Ethiopia has a reputation for having a heavy-handed government. Heavy-handed government. But contrary to what Americans perceive that to be, the feeling that I got from the people at the guest house and a couple of other people that I had conversations with was that they like that. It gives them a sense of security and safety. They said we don't have terrorist attacks like they have in Kenya and other regions because of the heavy police presence. So rather than them seeing it as an oppressive thing, they seem to, the ones I talked to, saw it as a security thing that gave them a level of comfort in the society. So Ethiopia, I moved around day and night by myself, sometimes with a guide. I never felt threatened. I never felt insecure. There are websites you can go to where you can check cost of living comparison charts with countries and cities around the world, and they also include healthcare comparisons and crime statistics. And according to the sites that I've looked at, Ethiopia is one of the safest places in the world. Really, Addis Ababa, the capital, very safe. So most of them don't speak English. They speak the local languages, Amharic and Oromo and other things. But I just felt safe. I didn't feel like I was under any threat. I didn't feel like anybody was preying on me. I felt safer from pickpockets in Ethiopia than I do in Ghana. And that's the next topic. So I'll go quickly to Ghana because I spent more time there. So, excuse me, I'm getting over the flu. In Ghana, is it safe? Yes, much safer than it is here in America. Ghana has a culture that doesn't believe in fighting, which is very interesting. They say no fight, no fight. They don't believe in fighting in Ghana, fist fight, any other kind of fight. They argue, they get very emotional, men and women, they get in each other's faces, hands flying, and they get very angry and upset. But the difference is, very seldom will a blow be thrown. And most of the time in Ghana, if people start arguing and fussing publicly, especially strangers will come up and get in it. And they'll separate people. They'll bring one person this way and they'll take the other person that way, and they don't have to know you. And they'll try to rationalize and talk sense into you. Brother, this is not good. Sister, this is not good. And what's the problem? And what's going on? And what's happening? And this, that, and the other. Everybody gets in everybody's business, and that's a good thing when it comes to fighting. They're not afraid of you pulling out a gun and started shooting because they don't have guns. Most of them, some of them do, but most don't carry guns in Africa, especially in Ghana. So here, if they see you fighting or arguing in public, to our disadvantage, oftentimes we'll encourage it. Or the people around gonna get that and do this, and they'll instigate the fight. In Africa and Ghana, it's just the opposite. They'll try to get in and stop it, so they're more civilized in that respect. So it's a safer environment. You don't have to worry about fighting and all this kind of stuff. Most people don't have guns, security and police, but they do have armed robbers in Ghana. And usually they come to your house if they think you got a lot of money. Business people, if they hear a rumor or something, they might come to your house. They don't do it on the street too often. But that being said, they do home invasions here and armed robberies and carjackings and all kind of stuff. And those don't happen in Ghana. No carjackings. I never heard of one. And ride-by shootings where innocent people are getting shot. I've never heard of anything like that. Children, 4 and 5 years old, shot through the head in the house, in the bed, sleep. They don't do that. One of my favorite experiences living in Ghana, one of the most memorable, was in 2011. I went to Labadi Beach. And Labadi Beach is the most popular beach in Accra, the capital. And so I went there. I was there Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and I think New Year's Day. Sometimes I was by myself, sometimes I was with a lady friend. but it's thousands of young black men and women, teenagers up through their 20s and 30s for the most part, and they're all over the beach, drinking, eating, getting in the water, having fun, but there was never a hint of danger, never a threat or an idea that might break out. People might start arguing and fighting. It just didn't happen, and so there's such a deep sense of security living in Ghana. When you're around your people at the markets, in restaurants and nightclubs, you know, just the fact that you don't have to worry about shit breaking out and stuff happening. You know, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's rare. Nothing like it is in the U.S. You know, when a bunch of us get together, anything could happen. You know, it happens. It's just the truth. And I've been on the streets in Ghana, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, public transportation, catching taxis and vans by myself and with a lady friend. You know, and other people. I don't stay out that late often, but I have been out that late, and I just don't feel afraid. You know, like somebody's gonna prey on me, do anything to me, ride by and shoot me or rob me. I just don't have that fear there. Here I got to be a lot more careful in the U.S. First time I went, 2003, young sister from New York, Julie, was on the flight and stayed for about a month, from what I could tell, by herself. She was 19 or 20 years old, and she moved around the whole country alone, sometimes with Ghanaians, but just didn't have any fear. So people, Americans, seem to be afraid of everything and everybody, and especially the outside world. But I'm here to tell you, living in Ghana, and from what I saw in Ethiopia, it's much safer living or visiting there when it comes to violence anyway, and people perpetrating acts of violence. They don't have mass shootings. You know, we have mass shootings here. We've had terrorist attacks. I've never heard of one in Ghana. I'm not saying it can't happen, because this terrorist thing is global and it happens in neighboring countries, but I've never heard of it happening in Ghana, praise God, to this point. But in terms of mass shootings, who does this? You know, this American sickness. It's not a global thing. It's not, well, it doesn't happen many places, but it does happen here. So yeah, it's safe there. Okay, the other thing is, I've written a book. This is my book, one of them anyway. It's titled Cape Coast, Coming Home Through the Door of No Return. It's on Amazon.com, and it gives you a good insight into Ghana, what it's like to go home after being gone for 400 years. But it's good for anybody. I mean, just a travel book, and kind of gives you more deeper insight into the culture, into the people, into the welcome you'll receive, how people respond to you. This is another book I wrote. It's a gangster novel. It's on Amazon.com also. Rolling with the Hot Sauce, fictional account of a black crime syndicate operating on the east side of Kansas City. So both of them are at Amazon, both of them are available. Keep watching my channel. I got more stuff coming soon. Peace and blessings.